The M5 Recoilless and the RPG are the only shoulder-launched missiles that are truly fire and forget in Battlefield 2042. Other shoulder-launched missiles like the Javelin require lock-on, and the Liss rocket is a guided missile. While those sometimes might be more accurate, the M5 Recoilless and the RPG can be fired without any previous preparation, and you don't have to become a started target to fire them. In addition, both deal some serious damage, but the RPG requires some more skill to actually hit. But we'll get back to that later. This video will have a look at all the different vehicles and how much damage they take from each weapon. We'll also have a look at how efficient the two missiles are against the infantry, even though that isn't the primary goal. Before we get started, feel free to nudge that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any content like this. The M5 Recoilless and the RPG share that they are both fire and forget shoulder-launched missiles. Both can be rather shaky if fired from the hip, but they are both quite accurate if fired with AV. Both are unique to the engineer class, and since Liss already carries the Liss rocket, well, it's actually only available to Boris and Charlie. Charlie is the Mako man and he carries one more rocket than Boris, which is quite handy actually. In Battlefield 2042, Boris is the worst engineer available at the moment. He can only carry 3 M5 Recoilless or 2 RPGs when spawning, but can add one using either the ammo crate or the big angel box. When it comes to aiming, the RPG drops a lot more than a Recoilless. Already at 100 meters, the drop is significant enough to miss a normal sized vehicle unless aiming is adjusted. In addition, if you quickly switch to the RPG and then go ads, both Charlie and Boris start to fiddle, making the aim wobble for a while. The M5 Recoilless doesn't have that issue, and in addition the sight both has more zoom and less obstructions. Looking at the damage output, starting with helicopters and other flying things, the attack heli, the Nightbird or Little Bird if you wish, the fighter jet, all of them take 100 damage from one shot using either RPG or M5 Recoilless. They are equal when firing against those vehicles. If we look at the transport flying vehicles, they can sustain much more damage. The RPG does 46 damage and the M5 Recoilless does 44 damage. That means that both the RPG and the M5 Recoilless require 3 shots to take down one transport heli. Moving on to the main battle tanks, looking at the T-28 or the Abrams because they are identical. So all ground vehicles share the features that they have one hit zone in the front, they have hit zone on the sides and then on the back. The sides are generally the normal, let's say normal damage field. The front is more tanky and the rear is where you want to hit. But the T-28 and the Abrams, the RPG does 27 damage in front and it requires 4 shots to destroy a tank from the front. You should avoid that if possible. If you however hit the sides, it does 35 damage, which is 3 shots to kill. If you hit the turret, it takes as much damage as the sides. That's also a general feature for the different vehicles that have turrets. If you hit the back, the RPG makes 44 damage, which is still 3 shots. Compared to Recoilless, the front takes 21 damage, which is 5 shots. The side takes 27 damage, which is 4 shots, and the back takes 34 damage, which is 3 shots. So this is quite interesting that if you hit the tank from the rear, both the RPG and the Recoilless need 3 hits to kill. The RPG, however, has more, let's say, over damage. It can compensate a little bit if someone is repairing or if the apes is used. The TOR tank is a little bit more fragile than the other tanks. The only difference, however, is that it takes the same damage in the front as it does on the sides and the turrets, meaning that the RPG only needs 3 hits from the front to take it out, while the Recoilless needs 4 hits from the front. Moving on to the most tanky vehicle in the game, the MAV. It can sustain quite a lot of punishment. The RPG only makes 19 damage in the front, so you need 6 shots to kill a MAV from the front with RPG. The sides take 25 damage, so you still need 4 hits from the sides, and the rear takes 35 damage, which requires 3 shots. So using RPG, you need the same amount of shots from the rear as you need for a normal tank. However, if you hit from the side or from the front, you need 4 or 6 shots, which is a lot. The recoilless, however, if you take from the front, it only makes 15 damage, but requires 7 shots. And from the side, it takes 19 damage, which is 6 shots. And from the back, 24 damage, 4 shots. So, the RPG can kill a MAV from the back with only 3 rockets, while the recoilless require 4 rockets from the back. The Brawler and Wildcat both share the same numbers as the main battle tanks of T-28 and Abrams. Both requires 4 RPG shots from the front, 3 RPG shots from the side, and 3 RPG shots from the back. If you have recoilless instead, that is 5 from the front, 4 from the side, and 3 from the back. Again, the number hits from the back is the same as with RPG. Bolter is the weakest vehicle around, and it takes the same amount of damage regardless of where you hit it. If you use RPG, it always takes 50 damage, which means that you need 2 shots to kill. In addition, after the first hit, usually Bolter goes a little bit either very slow or incapable of moving at all. It's really a glass cannon. If you use the recoilless, it makes 40 damage, which is 3 shots from any direction. The Ram is also a little bit more fragile than the tanks and so on, but it still requires 3 shots from the side and the front. It takes equal damage, 45 damage from the RPG, and 2 shots from the back, which is 67 damage from the RPG. If you instead use the recoilless, it's 35 damage from the side and the front, which is 3 shots, and 51 damage from the back, which is 2 shots. The Ram is killed by equal number of shots regardless if you use RPG or M5 Recoilless. If you're shooting at infantry, the damage output is a little bit depending on the distance and what features, if there's, let's say, a wall or anything that's reflecting, or how high you hit and so on. But in general, the M5 Recoilless has a bigger blast radius than the RPG, but once you get inside the RPG blast radius, it does more damage. If you do a direct hit with either RPG or M5 Recoilless, they will kill a infantry. To sum it all up, the general opinion is that since the RPG is harder to hit with, it has more drop, it's slower and so on than the recoilless, it does a lot more damage. And that is actually true. It does pretty much always more damage than the recoilless. But if you count in number of hits required to take down a vehicle, they are surprisingly equal in many cases. If you're going to take down a attack heli, a Nightbird, or a transport heli, any flying object actually, you require the same amount of shots regardless if you use RPG or M5 Recoilless. If you're going to take down a tank, as long as you hit them from the rear, it takes the equal amount of rockets. And if you're going to destroy a Brawler from the rear, a Wildcat from the rear, or a Ram from the rear, or Ram from any direction actually, it's the same amount of rockets. However, if you're going to take out a Bolter, that's the difference in 1 rocket each. And if you're going to destroy MAV, that is where the biggest differences are, because it's only 1 rocket difference in favor of the RPG if you hit from the back, but if you hit from, let's say, the side, that's 2 less rockets with the RPG compared to the recoilless, because the recoilless need 6 hits from the side. It really shouldn't hit the MAV from the side or from the front. It should always hit it from the back, because otherwise you will waste a lot of ammunition. With that said, I think it's all down to how accurate are you. I think the recoilless is generally better because it's faster, it's more accurate, it has less drop, and you have a better sight. For that reason, it's easier to handle, and it's really a good weapon still. However, if you can manage the RPG and you can really land those shots, then of course it's more efficient, and you can account for some repairs or some cooldown on the APS. That requires that you either play Charlie or, you basically want to play Charlie if you play RPG, but you can also have ammo boxes and stuff around you. That will help. Anyhow, hope this was useful to you. Cheers!
There's a man down!